Now you say the Most High gave his word to everybody, right?
That bond is you living out right now. That bond is why you at the bus stop right now.
You understand? The scripture says, any man speak, let him speak of the oracles of God. They think the law is a small thing.
Separate, man. We are separate from these other nations, man.
That's right.
West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy, it get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he abdominal. So what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical, guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars, I coach him up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one West rising to prominent. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got Groupons for Uber. Rhymes hard like they been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by in black Impalas, let the semi holler. The showstopper, been as proper since the teeny bopper. But now I'm going them off Patron, a premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modified the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when the heat's on, none of them can get to the fire. Ran with me, and I had them niggas spin like a tire. But down the D, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel to igniter, I'm winning, coming through with the title because UP. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me.
Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah, to my brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shema Alatah Bahashem, Yahweh Shah to my sisters. We are the ISUPK, started out of One West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, 1969. We are under Commanding General Yohana. And under Commanding General Yohana, we go throughout the earth proclaiming the truth of the Bible. And the truth of the Bible is simply this: the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the children of Israel. The children of Israel as found in the Bible, the same ones found that Moses was told to go get out of Egypt. The same people that Moses told Pharaoh to let my people go. This is the Monday night history class. I'm sitting in for that mighty man, Officer 5000 Shawat, as we continue to move on in this crazy time where everything is getting canceled. They call it cancel culture right now. Everything's canceled. Churches canceled Thanksgiving. People went and flew anyway, and now they got more people dead and infected with COVID than they thought would happen. I mean, it went crazy out there. So the question is, really, what's going on? Here's one of the things we've been telling, that the brothers was telling me before I came in the truth. I heard the brother saying, and then and since I've been in the truth and studied and continued to study and got a rank raise here or there, went through Hebrew Academy. You know what I learned is that the Most High is jealous over Israel. The Most High is jealous over Israel, you see. And what you see going on is his response, believe it or not, to the prayers of the priests and prophets of the ISUPK. That's what I believe, this COVID. When they prayed, when the ISUPK prayed for the terrorists to show up and begin doing their thing and to do their thing, they showed up. As Captain Kaposh aptly stated in the video out of Las Vegas this weekend. And then we start praying for the plagues about a year ago. And look what you got. You got COVID coming in and took over the scene. And I know that looks weird to a lot of people. Say, wow, these guys really, the Most High listen to him. You're absolutely right. The Bible says the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. You see, when you was in the Christian church, your prayers didn't go no higher than whatever the sound system could carry them, or however your voice went. If all it went was to the top of the ceiling, that's all it went. You see why? Because all of Christianity is unrighteous. Why? Because Christianity is a religion, and all religions are what? Man-made. They have nothing to do with Yahweh. They have nothing to do with the Creator. They have nothing to do with the scriptures, this Bible, our records. And Christianity is one of the leading religions, if not, it is the biggest religion on the face of the earth. Whether you're Catholic or Protestant, they're all Christians. They all teach the same lies. They all mingle the same paganism with the Bible, and get you, black man, black woman, get you so-called Indian man, Indian woman, get you so-called Latino man, Latina woman. They get you by mixing all that paganism and stuff with our records, making it sound good and sweet. They get you to turn your back on the Most High, on your Creator, on the one who sees you, Israelites, as the apple of his eye. Now I know it sounds like what? I'm going way back 3,500, 5,000 years ago, trying to talk to some people. But you know, here in the UPK, we don't do anything without what? Consulting the scriptures. And when we teach what? Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. And being that this is the history class, this is one of the most important things you need to know, is that when the Christian church told you that all this stuff with Moses, when the stuff with Daniel, when the stuff with Christ, when the stuff with the apostles, Paul, John on the Isle of Patmos, and they like to refer to that as biblical times. That was in biblical times. That's what they like to say, is that was in biblical times. And you know what? It was. But what's going on right now, what, every other day another black man is shot down in the street by the police. That the nefarious powers that be are still what? Redlining neighborhoods and coming with plans, what they call it, gentrification. You ought to see the east side of Detroit. Look like somebody came through here and just blew it up. Gentrification, denying you services, right? So that your neighborhood can fall into shambles. We all think, what we don't recognize is that these are biblical times too. Don't let them Christians fool you. Don't let them Christians fool you by thinking that the only biblical times existed prior to you being born. All time is biblical time. Indeed, the Most High is still in control. The Christians don't run anything. The Pope don't run anything. The presidents of the nation, the kings of the nations don't run anything. You see. And what you're seeing right now, right, you don't recognize because they got you thinking about biblical times as if it's a fairy tale. As if it's a fairy tale. But let me give you a scripture right quick. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. That's Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. That's one of the reasons we have the history class. That's one of the reasons we have the history class. When you look at this scripture, Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 9, it reads this way. This is from the 1611 King James Version. The thing that hath been. You got that? The what? The thing that has been. That was in the past. The thing that was in the past, whatever that thing, however your imagination run, whatever that thing might be in your imagination, the thing that was in the past, this is what it's talking about. So if you're thinking about what? Moses chastising the children of Israel in the Bible, that thing has been. That did happen. You see that? If you think about Israel turning and going after other gods, other nations, going after other cultures, and then becoming what? More Buddhist than whoever created Buddha. You see that? Becoming more Korean than Koreans. You know, more Oriental than Orientals. Becoming more African than Africans. When Israel doing that, if that's the thing you're thinking about, that thing, that has been. That has been. The thing that has been, watch this, it shall be. It shall be. So if you're thinking about, well, back in the day, Israel went chasing other gods, well, that, according to this scripture, it shall be. That means it's going to happen again. That wasn't the only time it happened. You can look at the history and know that that's not the only time that it happened. And that which is done, you see that? That which is done. You know what? I'm going to focus your attention about that part of the scripture, that which is done. There was a thing that was done many years ago, and you can find it in a book called Exodus. And the thing that was done, you can find it in Exodus 20 around the 3rd verse. And it say, I'm the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. thou shalt have no other God before me. That was a thing that was done. And that which is done, watch this, the Most High brought us out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That's another thing you can concentrate on. So from the top, Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9, from the top, it reads, the thing that hath been, that thing in the past, it is that which shall be. It's going to happen again. And that which is done. Let me clarify that. Let me back up. I was moving a little fast. And that thing which is done, that's what's going on now. That's the present tense. That's the present tense. What's the present tense? That thing which is. Brothers, hearing the truth of the Bible, brothers and sisters, hearing what the Bible really teaches from the priest and prophet under Commanding General Yohana out of the ISUPK. That's what's going on. Priests and prophets standing on the corner, raising their voices like a trumpet, telling Israel, blacks, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and so-called natives, that they have turned their back on the Most High and they need to return to these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Don't think it's over. That thing which is, that's going on right now, my brothers meeting for Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, Midwest style out in Las Vegas. I know some are going to argue that was West Coast style, but you know, that's right there in the heart. That ain't too far from the middle. And we just love it. That thing is going to continue to be done. Don't think that that was a happenstance. Sure, the church is closed. And sure, all the way back, Easter got shut down. And Mother's Day got shut down. And the 4th of July got shut down. We're going to come back to all of this, but I'm just pointing it out to you. Your birthday parties that you used to go out and pin money on people at the club, shut down. Why? Because they didn't shut all the clubs down. Your celebrations of your different traditions and customs in Babylon, in modern day Babylon, is shut down. That which is done is that which shall be done. You understand? You're getting a taste. You're getting a taste. You're getting a taste of what's not going to be around here. All that pig eating and pork eating, and all that turkey, you know, that nasty swine eating, that's going to stop. You see it stopping now. I remember the few years back when I first came into the truth, and it just caught me off guard. It just caught me off guard. Just like these beards, I see them all over now. It wasn't like that when I first came into the truth. Now I hear more people talking about, I don't eat pork, I don't eat shrimp, I don't eat crab, I don't eat lobster. The ISUPK word is getting out. That thing which is. It's going to be. Ain't no more eating of that garbage. You can shut it down. It's being shut down as we go. It is that which shall be done. From the top, one more time, that thing that hath been, you understand, is that which shall be. It's going to be. The Most High brought us out of a number of captivities. He's going to bring us out of this one too, with even greater authority, with even bigger fanfare. Nobody on the face of the earth is going to be able to deny that he is the Most High. And that which is done, what you see the priests and prophets under Commanding General Yohana doing today, is that which shall be done. We'll never stop preaching this gospel. This good news that you don't have to be a damn Christian, that you don't have to die. You see that? That you don't have to be a detestable creature in the sight of the Most High. Is that which shall be done. Now hear this. And there is no new thing under the sun. there is no new thing under the sun. That's what we find in Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. What's the significance of that last part? That if you want to find out what's going to happen, if you want to find out what is happening, all you have to do is look back to what happened. All you got to do is look back to what happened. You see that? So there's nothing new under the sun, and that is what history class is all about. To show you what side of history you should be on. You're gonna be on the side. That's they like to say that. What side of history are you gonna did you get on? And you're gonna be on the side of history. You're gonna be on the life side or the death side. You got that? You're gonna be on the life side or the death side of history. And it's just that simple. And since there's nothing new under the sun, you know, I love attacking these religions. And as I watch the last happenstances of what they like to say, circumstances and coincidences, news flashes, and all of this, what's going on, particularly here in the United States, but it's come to my understanding that this is happening all over the world. All over the world. Them terrorists keep Europe, they keep Europe on edge. And just like in America, the new terrorist is a homegrown terrorist, some oppressor that stood up, another oppressor stood up the other day. And of all places, a place where they was conducting some type of, I think when they singing Christmas carols, they was sitting up there singing Christmas carols or something, up on was it someplace? And he gets up there. They shot him in his head, but they killed him. They shot him in his head, but he gets up there in the middle of public, gets up there with 2 pistols and open fire. The news said he was shooting up in the air. The lady said he was shooting in the crowd. And she was just scared as all get out. The churches ain't safe. Dylan Roof showed you that. So-called black people, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native American. Your churches ain't safe no more. And when y'all wouldn't listen to us after the Dylan Roof and we was telling y'all to get up out of there, y'all wouldn't listen to us. Look what happened now. The Most High came along and closed them all down. Closed them down. When will y'all wake up? When will y'all wake up out there? When will y'all wake up, Israel? Are you so ashamed of being called an Israelite? You know, them fake Jews or them Jewish people, they know they're not Israelites. That's why they call themselves Jewish. They somewhat like the real Jews, someone like the Israelites, but not quite. The only thing they do is take a few of the scriptures, some of those scriptures, and they apply them out of our records and apply them to themselves. And it's amassed them a great amount of physical wealth and well-being in this earth, in this kingdom. In their heaven. In their heaven. Yeah, them little Jewish people over there, they trade with anybody as long as they selling to you. But they're going to charge you a great deal. They'll sell you money. That's right, it's called a loan. And then they're going to charge you an exorbitant amount of interest. But when they lend to one another, they don't do that. They don't do that. They made their way to what? Control Hollywood. They control Hollywood so well that they shaped the ideologies of whole nations, particularly Israel. Of Israel, they've shaped, using the television, they've shaped what we think. That's why women that run around dressed like whores. General Muhammad brought that out. They brought up the scripture. How can you tell a whore by her apparel? And by how the way she bat her eyes at you from across the room. But it is the oppressor and his poverty that has done that to us. And what you hear right now is the ISUPK going throughout the planet, warning Israel first, raising our voices up like a trumpet to come out of her, my people. Come out of her. Again, Exodus 20:2-3. I am the Lord thy God that brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Moses told the people back then, and we're doing the historical comparison now. Today, under Commanding General Yohanan, the priests and prophets of the Most High, found in the ISUPK, is running throughout saying, warning Israel, warning Yasharallah to come out of her, my people. That Babylon the great, Babylon is fallen. You know it's throughout the Bible that the Most High call a thing is, well before it occurred. David was anointed king of Israel well before he sat on the throne. He was the king of Israel when the Most High had deposed Saul and told him to step down via the prophet. But Saul sought to kill David. But David was still the king even though he was on the run. And those people that understood that followed David and stuck with David, you see. Come out of her, my people. Babylon the Great is falling. America and this whole European system of existence, this whole oppressive and oppressor system of existence under religions, is crushing the Most High's people. And is crushing them in terrible, terrible ways. Let me back up. I was going to go. Here's one of the things for sure. There's many, many, many scriptures that support what we say. Line upon line, precept upon precept. We said the thing that has been is the thing that shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no thing under the sun. We are telling you, the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohanan, this is what you hear them brothers teach. I don't even like using the word preach, but to teach is you to come out of America and quit trying to imitate America and all her hedonistic customs. To come out of her and quit chasing after her. Is this the first time Israel has been told not to chase after heathens? I was in this oppressor's military for a while and got sent 2 times over to South Korea. And it amazed me how our people engulfed themselves, engrossed themselves in that people's culture. After coming back to the United States, more than one brother's home, more than one sister's home, I was able to walk in and instead of seeing what we normally see in a home. And we're talking so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native American. Instead of seeing what we would normally see in one of their homes before they came into the Army, before they went into Korea, we see a whole living room and dining room set of mother pearl, low to the ground, Oriental everything fashion in their house. Fat Buddhas over in the corners, garbage like that. You see that? It's not new. And it's not new that Israel has been warned to stay away from this garbage. Listen to Jeremiah 10, beginning at verse 1. Beginning at verse 1. We're not making this stuff up. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel, so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians. O house of Israel, that's who you are. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Learn not that the heathen worship the signs of heaven. It goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel, or before the Tower of Babel. It goes back to the flood, when the Most High saved 8 people by way of an ark because of the righteousness of a father, a husband, a man named Noah, a prophet named Noah. Because of his righteousness, he saved Noah's family. You see that? And then Noah's family would, time would go on, would not continue to follow the Most High. Had to curse Canaan, son of Ham. But there was a line out of Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that the Most High made his own, called the house of Israel. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus, verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. This was written way back then. Jeremiah wrote that. And today I tell you, look at here, don't go running outside this evening looking for that meteor shower they've been talking about on the news. Talking about there's supposed to be some 60 to 80 meteors per hour between a certain time period tonight. If you just think it's pretty, think it's pretty. But you watch the nonsense and the madness that goes on tonight. The last sign in the sky, what was that, an eclipse or something? People broke their neck to try to see that. And horrendous stuff went on. Verse 3, Jeremiah 10, verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. Now here's the thing about prophecy. Jeremiah was a prophet, commanding general. Yohannan's a prophet. Jeremiah is a prophet. Captain Mawakwa is a prophet. Captain Laban's a prophet. You need to listen to them. For the customs of the people are. Are is a present tense, always present tense, just like the word is. When Jeremiah said the customs of the people, he's talking about the people other than the people of the Most High. For when the people of the Most High follow their own culture, their own customs given to them by the Most High, you know what happens? The Most High steps in with a mighty big footprint and deliver his people. But for the other people on the face of the earth, for all the other people on the face of the earth, with the exception of Israel, just Israel, we're talking about everybody else now except the true children of Israel. The customs of the people are vain. Vain means they amount to nothing. Vain means nothing. According to the scripture, the custom of the people are vain. Now just listen, we're coming up in a time that y'all not going to believe. And I think sometimes how much trouble Christians must go through this time of year to make sure you don't see this, or what type of lies so-called black Christians, Hispanic Christians, Native American Christians have to tell themselves to understand, to accept this custom that the Bible seems to describe. I'm not saying this is exactly what it is. I'm saying it's close enough to some stuff that we do today that you're going to recognize, especially right now. For the heathen are dismayed at it. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. Okay. So somebody goes in the forest and they cut down the tree. And we're telling you this happening today. And what you think about lumberjacks? All that virgin forest out there in Washington State or whatever might be left in the United States that they already cut down, we're not talking about that. Not talking about that. He cut a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of a workman. Now, and watch this, in many cases, the trees that's going to be cut or are being cut right now are cut by hand, whether it be a chainsaw or what. But folks going out there in the past, and my family was guilty of it, going out there cutting them down themselves. I'm guilty of having done that before I knew anything about the truth. I'm guilty of that. But we chop it down with an axe. Verse 4, they deck it. They what? They deck it. What's the definition of deck? That means they dress it up. That means they dress it up. We can look that up online. We're going to do that. But I'm telling you now, that's what it means. They dress it up. They dress it up. D-E-C-K. And we better put definition in there. There we go. Definition of deck. Here's one. A structure of planks or plates. Nope. 2. A component or unit in sound reproduction. Nope. That's not the one the Bible's talking about. As a verb, the first deck as a verb. Now those were nouns. As a verb, to deck. The first definition say decorate or adorn brightly or festively. Ingrid was decked out. I can't believe this. I'm reading this. You can't make this up. In her Sunday best. You see that? Ingrid was decked out in her Sunday best. Jeremiah says, this tree they cut out the woods, verse 4, they deck it or they adorn it, they dress it up festively with silver and with gold. And they fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. What have I just described that's been taking place surely since the day after Thanksgiving? All over the oppressor's world. Of course, we're talking about that filthy, disgusting, gonna burn down a bunch of houses this year, Christmas tree. A bunch of houses gonna get burnt down this year because so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called natives ain't got it. They shut the stores down. Did y'all see? You know, for this time of season, most of the shopping normally occurs on what? Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, right? Shut you down. Black Friday went what? Online. You see that? Black Friday had to go online. And now look, what are they saying on the news? Y'all know y'all been watching the news right now. Under this that it's worse and worse and worse. Have you noticed that every so-called holiday this year beginning around Passover time, it started getting worse for America around Passover, April. Into March, April. That's when they really begin to take notice of what the coronavirus was doing. You see that? And we're going to get back to that. But he said, one, do this. And now, I'm telling you, folks are hoping it doesn't shut down Christmas. It's too late. They are, verse 5, they are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. And here's the deal. The reason Jeremiah is talking about them like this is because that tree that they cut, the tree that they deck with silver and gold, and they fasten with nails and hammers, that it move not, is now a god, is now worship. And you teach your children to worship this thing is so crazy that doggone, they'll use something as simple as the doggone air freshener you put in your car because it's shaped like an evergreen tree. You see, I'm not calling that a Christmas tree. It's not a Christmas tree until you turn it into one. It's an evergreen. It could be a blue spruce. It could be a fir. It's an evergreen. But you turn it into a Christmas tree. Because it's shaped like an evergreen, in the movies, and this is how they get you. Y'all gotta, if you watch movies, pay attention with the eye of the ISUPK, with an open eye of the ISUPK. What do I mean? Understand that these are your enemies that finance, produce, and make these movies. These are your oppressors that make these movies, and they understand the psychological nature of movies. If you watch something long enough, over and over and over again, you know you'll actually believe that, and you will, what? You will start emulating that, and then it gets worse when you put the kids in front of it. Kids are naive, they'll believe anything, and you sit them down in front of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know, Jeremiah is warning you. And not just Jeremiah, it's the Most High warning you through the prophet Jeremiah. Hear ye the word which the Lord, Yahweh, our power, our protector, our Father, our everything, which speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Did you hear him say house of Lot? No, he didn't say house of Lot. Did he say the house of the Chaldeans? No. Of the Japanese? No. Of the Russians? No. He said, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. And this, Israel, is your fault, in a sense. We got we're not culpable. for what's going to happen to them. But because what's about to happen to Edom, oh man, Edom is done. That Edomite, he's done. You see. You got the next trick in front of you too. Learn not the way of the heathen. Joe Biden want to teach you his way. And so that's why he's talking real sweet. And after Donald Trump's murderous rage, Joe Biden sound extra sweet right now, don't you? Why do you? People think, and this show you how naive we can be. People think that Donald Trump got something out against Joe Biden because of the way he's conducting himself during this lame duck session. You know, a lame duck session is the time that the president, who's not going to be the president anymore after January 20th, has in office. Basically, this time period is supposed to be used to get his ducks in a row. To line up, to get ready to leave, to transition out, right? But Donald Trump is acting a damn fool, right? To the point that he's doing things that cannot but help catch your attention. You can't help but get caught by some of the nonsense, the atrocious things that he's doing. Donald Trump just putting 5 people to death after 17 years of having a moratorium on no federal death penalty. Let me look. I'm gonna bring that up for you right quick. so you don't think I'm lying. The trusty computer. Trump executes. Prisoners. News about Trump executes prisoners. Listen to this. And the sister brought it out. I'm gonna show you. With the executions in the final days of presidency, Trump is solidifying his criminal justice legacy. Now, this is what the bobbleheads on TV, the talking heads say. Well, I'm going to read a little bit of this first. The execution of multiple prisoners by the Trump administration in its final days has the potential to be a definitive mark for a president who often tried to paint himself as a champion of criminal justice reform. Moving forward with the execution of 5 inmates in President Trump's lame duck period is a reminder that his dominant legacy in criminal justice will be his frequent advocacy for the harshest sentence possible. Okay, and this is a Washington Post article that's simply arguing the harshness of the death penalty. But the question is, what's really going on? The question is what's really going on. You know what the answer is? The answer is Psalms 83. You know that? Let me pull that up real quick. The answer, where's my other phone? The Psalms 83. Y'all think I'm playing? This is what's really going on. Psalms 83 is what you see right now. And it's just a little part of Psalms 83. This goes on all the time, but it's not too often that somebody can pull the covers off of what's going on. And let me pull it up and read it for you, and then you'll understand. Psalms 83. keep not silence. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. That's what Trump is doing with killing, making sure he killed 5 people. And you saw the brother that he had killed already. You saw the brother. He made sure they got that in there. Because Trump don't mind killing niggas, spics. Salakia, niggas, wetbacks, and redskins. That's who Trump loved killing us. Native Americans, so-called Latinos, and so-called Negroes. He loved killing us. That's one story. So we see he doing this in this lame duck, doing this lame duck session. The question is why? Really, really why? He's making a tumult. Why is he making this tumult? He's making noise with this. He's making sure that it's getting what? It's getting into the news. It's getting into social media. It's getting all the airtime, all the playtime. So you can see how crazy. They want you to concentrate on how evil Donald Trump was. And he is. He is. Ain't nothing wrong about that. He is now. He a bastard. He ain't worth 2 dead flies and don't mount to a hill of beans. That's for sure. But what's the real reason? Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. We're talking Psalm 83. That's verse 3 right there. Crafty counsel, and that's what's going on. This is crafty counsel. This is crafty counsel. Why is it crafty counsel? Because what? Every time they kill one of us, right? They giving us the news media. They giving us the media. They use Black Lives Matter to make sure we knew we had free access to what? Television cameras. And those television cameras is looking into is beaming out into every Israelite home in America. And they letting you see Donald Trump act a fool. And it got you what? All emotional. But now that you're emotional, what they gonna do? Let me go to a headline. Here's the crafty counsel. Here's the crafty counsel. You've been hearing about this particular thing since they had their so-called elections. And this is all over the internet. This is just from, and look at here, I'm not even using an American source. This is from Al Jazeera, AlJazeera.com. That's that Arab news feed, international. Electoral College officially confirms Biden's presidential victory. You get that? You get that? Joe Biden has won the majority of the Electoral College as key battleground states gave him and running mate Kamala Harris more than the 270 votes needed to become the next president and vice president of the United States. That's your crafty counsel. That's your crafty counsel. You know how many ignorant ass so-called Negroes, Hispanics, so-called Native Americans going to be up talking about we finally got a black female president. Vice President, Salakia. This is the highest ranking woman of color elected to any elected office, but the problem is she ain't black. She is not an Israelite. She is not an Israelite. What y'all all happy about? She a white girl. Salakia. She a heathen. She's an oppressor. Check out her pedigree. It's on the internet. Remember, her father and grandfather, her grandfather owned plantations in the West Indies. He owned businesses in the West Indies. You see that? That was passed down to a father. Do you know? Niggas didn't own nothing back then. So if the father that she come out of during the time of European oppression owned property in Jamaica, he was a white man. He was a European. He was an Edomite. That's a pedigree. You are your father's child. The pedigree is established according to the father. And her mother, the filthy ass East Indian, will worship a cow and eat a goddamn rat. That's not an Israelite. She's not an Israelite. She's not black. But y'all celebrate. Y'all keep going on. Listen to them damn preachers because they coming. They coming. And they finna soft pedal Joe Biden down your damn throat. You see. They finna soft pedal Joe Biden down your throat. And something else they finna soft pedal down your throat. Watch this. It's crafty counsel. It's crafty counsel, that's for sure. I'm gonna put in some Muslim India, and watch this. I'm putting in another word, and y'all ain't gonna believe this. Watch this new. This is from HuffPost.com, which is the Huffington Post, right? You see, this is from HuffPost, which is Huffington Post, right? This is by Liaquat Ali Khan, a contributor, founder of the Legal Scholar Academy in Kansas. And here's their article, because with a name like that, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. This is their article. The 18th century British colonists, the self-righteous Anglicans, males of the self-righteous Anglican males of the self-assessed superior civilization, upon arrival in Mughal Muslim India, were repulsed by the sight of Hijras, Hijras, Hijras. Transgenders, that's what they are, and baffled over why they were accorded so much respect in royal courts and other spheres of life. After deposing the Mughals, ain't that a kick in the face? After I get the pronunciation of that, after deposing the Mughals and then discharging the white man's burden of civilizing the inferior races, the British colonies enacted the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871. This is over in India, to declare what they call eunuchs, transgenders, a criminal tribe among many other Indian tribes, on the theory that certain tribes were genetically criminal and must be placed under state surveillance. They got rid of transgenders. Okay, they got rid of them. And this is why the article here is back. Let me go find the story, because that's the other story, because this is just a little bit of what's going on. Something has happened over in India. And I saw it on the news. Here's just some of the titles. Demigods inside India's transgender community. Diary of a Muslim transgender girl. Feminism in India. India court upholds transgender marriage rights. India transgender gurus in landmark Hindu procession. And I think they're trying to hide it, but in India, the Muslims have just accepted transgenders back into their mosque, into their church. Now, you know these transgenders go back to ancient times. And they're going to be all out in the Christian church. And you're going to end up, if you speak against them, you're going to end up being put in jail. Here they come. Obama gave you homosexuality, legalized homosexuality. Subtly. When Obama came in, well, we was talking about Trayvon Martin. Remember that? When Obama came in, he was talking about what he gonna do for black folks, and what he left black folks with, being that he, stinking, filthy African, what he left Israelites with, more homosexuality. Homosexual is legal, and weed is legal. You see that? And now Kamala Harris becomes the vice president, and India mosques are now making places, honored places even, for transgender. Everybody knows what a transgender is, right? A transgender is a person who was born physically a male or a female and decide that they don't want to be that anymore because some little voice in their head tells them that they are something else. They are another gender. And it's all over the internet. The New York Times, Hydras, transgenders, occupy a special place in Hinduism, but their relationship to modern Mumbai, where transgender people are legally recognized, remain fraught. They're taken up for the transgenders. This is what Biden is about to bring you, and because Donald Trump is making a tumult, right? You're going to accept this with open arms as if this is a brand new baby. You know, you finna accept them with all open arms and everything. In a minute, you're going to see transgenders standing up in front of the camps talking about call me. Well, you already had that. Call me miss, call me miss. You was born with a rod and a set of nuts. You a man and an abomination if you go and turn yourself into a woman. And a damn abomination. You see that? But what is this spirit? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this to us? Well, because we haven't returned to the Most High. We haven't returned to Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel. We haven't returned to him. That's why they're doing this. And again, this is nothing new. But in these last few minutes, I'm going to show you something that's happening, and it's happening in your face. It's happening in your face. This is historic. Actually, it's history repeating itself. They didn't warn you. The priests, the prophets warn you from the Old Testament. They warn you in the New Testament. Yahweh Shai himself. What did I just do? Okay. What is that? Okay. Yahweh Shai himself warn you. In Mark 7, verse 5 through 9, we read this. Then the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the traditions of the elders? That's what they asked Commander General Yohanan all the time. That's what they asked General Mahayman. That's what they asked these camp leaders all the time. Why don't y'all just go get a job? Why y'all make people don't celebrate Easter? Why don't y'all why y'all preach all this hate? Why don't y'all stop preaching this hate? Stop teaching what y'all teaching. Why don't y'all just stop teaching what y'all teaching? You know why they want us to stop? Because they want their traditions to continue. Why don't we do according to their traditions? Why don't you celebrate? Do you hate mamas? You hate your mama? That's why you don't celebrate Mother's Day? You hate all women? That's why you don't celebrate Valentine's Day? You don't celebrate Swedish Day? Huh? You got something against Irish people, so you don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Huh? You supposed to know the scriptures and you don't celebrate Easter. You don't celebrate the birth of Christ? You don't celebrate Easter? Oh, the death of Christ? You don't celebrate the death of Christ? You don't celebrate his birthday in December? You don't celebrate. This is what all Christians are saying right now. Man, in the apartment I live in, I hate even walking in the hallway sometimes. It's Christmas cards and decorations every goddamn where. Everywhere, every other door. Somebody slipped one of them goddamn Christmas cards up under my apartment door. I'm like, get out of here. What in the world is going on? But that's what modern day Pharisees are saying. Why don't y'all do that? Can't you just be nice to the sister up there? Can't you just tell her thank you? Do you have to tell her? Do you have to go off on her and tell her that Christmas is a paganistic heathen holiday that pits her against God, makes her worthy to die? Yes, I have to tell her that. Yes, we have to tell them that. Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? We're not going to break down the unwashed hand, what that means, but for laying aside the commandment of God, this is how Yahweh Shai responded. For laying aside the commandment of God, this is verse 8. Ye hold the traditions of men as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such things ye do. Verse 9, and he said unto them, full well you reject the commandment of God to keep your own tradition. Come on, man, that ought to be enough. That ought to be enough. And we ain't really got to the history point, and I'm going to have to hurry because it's already 20 minutes after 6. I'm going to have to hurry to get to the point. We may go just a little bit over. Just a little bit over. Full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own traditions. When you keep a holiday, you're rejecting the commandment of God. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which holiday you keep or you've been keeping. You have rejected the commandments of God because you what? Keeping the tradition of men. And here's the big warning, Colossians 2, verse 8. Colossians 2, verse 8. Listen what the prophet writes. Beware. What do that mean? I mean, look out, watch out. Be cautious. Be cautious. Keep a lookout for it. You see that? Lest any man spoil you through vain philosophy, and vain deceit. Now watch this. Philosophy, that's just different ways to think. Well, I think this about this. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody there to hear it, does it make a noise? And then men get together and argue that point. Those are philosophies. And then they say in vain deceit. Deceit means you're tricked. You're tricked. And the result of that trick is going to be nothing. No crown. You fall, you get deceived, you fall for their nonsense. Off with your head when your Habashah comes back. Deceit. And here's the funny thing about being deceived and deceit. The second you recognize it's been done, it's no longer deception. Be careful. The second you recognize that you have been tricked, you are no longer deceived. It's no longer deceit. It's not a deception anymore, for you are now aware of the truth. And let me tell you something. When you walk into a court of law in America and you've been charged with a crime, tell the judge that you did not know that that was a crime. Yana, I didn't know selling crack to my people was a crime. You know what the judge gonna say? Ignorance of the law is not a defense. And the priests and prophets coming out of the ISUPK is doing one thing for sure. That's to make sure that you're not ignorant of the law. That's what this grace is about. The time Yahushua left here and until the time he get back is your grace, period. The time for you to not remain ignorant of the law. If you remain ignorant of the law after this year, with listen to the ISUPK, you do so willingly. You are self-deceived now. You are so lustful after that feel-good that you get from imitating these heathens, you see, that you deceive yourself. You convince yourself Christmas is okay. You convince yourself that, and that's crazy. You know what? There were some guys that, back in the day, old men, back in the day when I was growing up, that the sisters, the church people particularly thought had a totally messed up attitude when it came to Christmas. What the old men would say was, I don't know why you telling that girl about some goddamn Santa Claus. Surely I ain't telling mine that shit. I work too goddamn hard to buy them these damn toys that they gonna tear up in one day, and then you want me to tell them some fat white man in a red suit and slip down the goddamn chimney that we don't have and brought them some toys? You must be out of your rabbit ass mind. That's the way them old men used to talk. And I was just curious. Hey, they may have had a point. But now I know that was that zeal without having knowledge. That was that zeal without knowledge. There was something in them that told them that this Christmas, this Santa Claus shit was wrong. You see? And now that's the next God that's about to be toppled in America. What you talking about, Officer Mashah? Well, all these holidays that's been canceled this year around the world, and then when they tried to defy the cancellation, it increased. What? The United States, their COVID is worse than ever just because some people did that Thanksgiving traveling. All them folks did that. They wishing they had not done that. So they wishing they had not done that. All that Thanksgiving travel. And the good doctors told them, if you do this, they told them, do not travel. Do not go around the world. Trump told them, look, man, you don't need a mask. Kick him in the ass. Go do it, man. Do what you want to. Keep America free. You do what you want to do. And they did it. And now the hospitals are full. How is this history? This is history because this ain't new. Did you know that? This ain't new. This ain't new. Take a few minutes, we're going to talk about some plagues. You seeing plagues right now. And watch this. The COVID is so rough of a plague. Y'all forgot California was on fire, didn't y'all? Y'all forgot California probably still burning the hell up. They quiet about that. Was Colorado on fire too? Fire. COVID. Y'all don't see this? This 2020. Fires like never before in the history of the United States. A pandemic worldwide, COVID. Folks, look. Around 52,000 U.S. soldiers were killed in the 10-year Vietnam conflict. 10 years of trying to kill each other. And they only managed to kill 50,000 Americans, soldiers. See that? Less than a year, the Most High hit the United States with over 250,000 deaths. That's just the United States. Can you get it? Can you get that through your head? Can you see the significance, the difference in the number? They go to war and drag it out for 10 years and lose 50,000 people. The Most High get tired of them messing over his people. The Most High begins to hear the cries of the priests and prophets and the prayers of the priests and prophets of the ISUPK. That's what you see. And over 250,000 Americans are dead. And we ain't going to talk about the tens of millions that's been infected with this coronavirus. We ain't going to even talk about the tens of millions that's been infected with this coronavirus. You see that? But before I run out of time, real quick, how is this? How is this history, what you're looking at? Whatever the God is over April Fool Day, gone. Whatever the God, couldn't do nothing with it. Whatever the God is over Easter, shut it down. The God over Memorial Day, toppled, fell on his face. Where have you seen the Most High do this before? The God, that fire God, that light God about the 4th of July, gone. Did y'all know that almost every holiday got its own God? Where did y'all see this before? Gone. Gone. Toppled on his face. 4th of July. Hell, and you know the Father, well, don't forget the Mother's Day God. The Mother's Day God. The Queen of Heaven. They got that bitch. The Corona. Shut her shit down. If you want to know how these guards are shut down, just go online and look up the financials of past years compared to what they did this year in financials when it comes to these holidays. God shut down. Shut down. Instead of Mother's Day celebrations, you know what they're having? Funerals. Oh, mother was a good Christian woman, big hat, big titty, up in church on Sunday, dead. Dead. Not listening to the priest and prophet. You know that's why your so-called blacks and so-called Hispanics and so-called Native Americans are dying more so. Because what? Psalms 147 say that he gave his laws and statutes to Jacob, to Israel, and to Jacob. His judgments. That he didn't do that for any other nation. Here's the priests and prophets of the Most High, the ISUPK, still coming out here in the midst of everything, of y'all, of us people wanting to kill us. In the midst, black people, our own people want to kill us. Same people that hollered about Yahushua, crucify him. Them Pharisees, them Christians, kill them. In the midst of our own people wanting to kill us. And when you know who wanted to kill us, it's not even a hardcore criminal out on the goddamn street. Shit, he halfway feel a nigga. He know it's hard. Some goddamn homosexual ass preachers, transgender ass preachers, and them hateful ass women, mean hateful ass women up in the Christian church. That's who want us dead. That's who giving you the counsel to go after the traditions of the elders, the traditions of the elders in this country. The elders of the preachers, the black preachers in this country, is to do whatever the white man wants you to do, to celebrate his holidays, to participate in his elections, to indoctrinate your children and feed your children bad food that ain't food, stuff that ain't food, garbage that ain't food, shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. You know, for a while there, man, look at here. If you was going on a date and you couldn't afford Red Lobster, you couldn't get a date with a whore. You see that? Whores love Red Lobster. Yeah. Disobey one commandment, you disobey another one. It's just easy. You break one law, it's easy to break another law. You see that? I can get away with this, so it's in my mind, it's easy to get away with that. Why? Because the punishment didn't come swiftly. And that's what's going on. The punishment has not come swiftly. And so therefore, you count yourself as being not guilty. So-called black man, black woman, so-called Native American man, so-called Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, so-called Native American woman. You count yourself not guilty because the Most High hasn't got to your family yet. He's trying to tell you that whatever you do, get the hell out of that Catholic Church, my Hispanic brothers. Man, let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Mary is not the damn Queen of Heaven. That's a goddamn idol from way back in the day. It ain't nothing new. Nothing new. Mother Mary full of grace, my ass. Y'all stop it. Come out of there. My brothers and sisters, y'all come out of that Catholic Church. Let them go. You know, it's good Catholics that's been whispering in the government's ear. They got your babies locked up in cages. You know that? Good Christians took your babies away from you and got them. Let it go. Good Spaniard Christians took over your countries and run them now just like in America. You know, Israel suffered the same fate wherever she's found. Whether she spread to Europe or to South America, Israel is catching hell at the hand of the oppressor. And we know that. And we're telling even you in Guatemala, Peru, Brazil, Cuba, come out of Puerto Rico, come out of that Catholic Church, man. Cut it out. Quit kissing them damn statues. Cut it out. And why would you stay there when the Catholic Church is the progenitor of the largest pedophile ring that exists in history? And why is it so easy for the Catholic Church to be pedophiles? It's in their nature. Romans walked around with little boys. Greeks walked around with little boys that they were screwing. They was having sex with publicly. It was expected of them. Did you expect them to give it up just because they went hiding under the guise of religion? No, they just covered it up. They just covered it up. But here's the historical point. What you see right now, you're living history. You're repeating history. Why? Because we were in a place called Egypt at one time. And I got to hurry along. In Exodus 22:3 tell us, I'm the Lord thy God that brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other God before me. And to make, watch this, the reason the Most High can have that written, he told Moses to write that down. The reason that can be written down, because that's just every God that was in front of you, Israel. Every God that was in front of you, that was oppressing you, the people of these gods were oppressing you down in Egypt. The Most High dealt with. Let's go take a look. Exodus 7:16. Thus saith the Lord, in this thou shalt know I am God. Behold, I will smite thee. I will smite with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. There was a god in Egypt called Hapi. It was the Egyptian god of the Nile. Look it up. Hapi, H-A-P-I. He was the Egyptian god of the Nile. It was thought that Hapi controlled the Nile so it would flood at a certain time and bring all the silk that's at the bottom, the silt at the bottom, onto the land and deposit it onto the land, right? And that caused that valley to become fertile, because that was all what? Fish poop and all that, which we now know is what? Fertilizer. And that caused them to be fertile. And so they worshiped this god of the Nile. Now watch this. We're going to jump down. Verse 20. Remember, the Lord just told Moses and them to tell Pharaoh, I'm going to turn the Nile to blood. Go to verse 20. And Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank. and the Egyptians could not drink the water of the rivers. Watch it, watch it. You know what they did to Flint, right? Don't be surprised if the Most High do it back to them. There was blood throughout all of Egypt. And of course, the magicians tried to stop it, but this just pissed Pharaoh off. And the Egyptians digged round about the river, verse 24. And see, that's what you see happening in America. Understand, let me go back to verse 23. And verse 23, and Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. He didn't let the people go. You see that? He had a hard heart. He didn't let the people go. And all the Egyptians digged around the river of water to drink, for they could not drink of the water in the river. That river god, Hapi, destroyed. Chapter 8, starting at verse 1. And I, the Lord, spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh. 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. If thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. There was a god in Egypt. I'm telling you, you can look this up. Heket, H-E-K-E-T, the Egyptian goddess of fertility, of water, and of renewal. And guess what the god looked like in the face? A damn frog. Literally, look it up. This pandemic, the crushing of holiday after holiday, is the crushing of God after God in the same fashion that they were crushed in Egypt. I'm going to skip some because I'm running out of time. Here's one. Exodus 8. I think this is verse 21. If thou wilt not let my people go, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. Of course, they didn't listen. Verse 24, and the Lord did so. And there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, into his servant's house, and into all the land of Egypt, and the land was corrupted by reason of swarms of flies. What do you think? What do you think? I'm going to tell you that Egypt had a fly god? Exactly. Matter of fact, Khepri, Khepri, Egyptian god of creation, movement of the sun, and rebirth. And he was depicted as an Egyptian with a face shaped like a fly way back then. Toppled. These pestilence and these plagues came to show that these gods controlled nothing. The God of Easter controls nothing. You get that? And they're being toppled one by one by one. And the Most High is doing it, believe it or not, just with the COVID. Shut it off. That's why it's called the canceled culture. Look it up. Look up canceled culture online. And believe you not, there's some people waking up. I can't pronounce the brother's name, but he's a comedian. He's played in a number of movies. Again, zeal without knowledge. He's the brother that's out there, a Latino brother out there that's recognizing that America is made up of so many Hispanics, and yet Hollywood is only made up, don't even have 2%. The movies are represented, and all that, and I understand what he's saying. Again, you know, zeal without knowledge, you need to come into the ISUPK. Anybody that might be close to that brother, look him up. I know what I'm talking about. He's a Latino brother, and he plays in all types of comedies with brother Luguzianzo or something like that. Has his own special, and he been representing the Latino interest for a long time. The ultimate defeat, the God that was ultimately defeated in Egypt was Pharaoh. According to Egypt's history, Pharaoh was the ultimate power of Egypt. He was over all the other gods. That's why, you see why could he harden his heart? Those other gods, right? They were like, you could see them other gods as, have you ever seen that movie, Enter the Dragon or whatever, one of them dragon movies with Bruce Lee, where he come in, he got to fight different levels. Before you can fight the master, you got to fight all these other guys. That's how those gods, Pharaoh saw them gods. That's why he didn't get upset. Well, shit, you got to get through the Nile god. You got to get through the fertility god. You got to get through the wind god. You got to get through the fly god before you get to me. And the Most High crushed all of them. And he crushed the ultimate god of Egypt, which was Pharaoh. So, and it came to pass, so Lakia for not, yeah. And it came to pass that at midnight, the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. This is how he crushed, just like he showed all them other, showed the people of Egypt that those gods had no control, that he was controlling all of that, the flies, the river, and all of that. He showed them he could control Pharaoh. He killed Pharaoh's son. Then not only that, he made Pharaoh appear helpless in front of all Egypt by killing all the firstborn throughout Egypt. Pharaoh is supposed to be the ultimate power in Egypt, the living God of Egypt. And they looking at Pharaoh and he crying just as bad as them. He's proven to be just a man. And look what happened. Verse 33, and the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we dead men. We all be dead men. They understood that. But look what the Most High had to do. And then when the Most High guided us out of Egypt, and we left and Pharaoh decided to pursue us, he presented a pillar of fire between us and them so we could get away. What was that scripture we read at first? What was that scripture? Let me go back to it. Oh, I know where it was. Here we go. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. We had some cruel taskmasters over us. We had some cruel oppressors, some captives, captors. We got them over us today. They're just real subtle. And that which is done is that which shall be done. He told Pharaoh up. He told Pharaoh up, and guess what? Now he's tearing up the United States. He's tearing up Babylon. He's walking through Babylon in the form of plagues, in the form of hurricanes. And there was Psalms 83 say, make them afraid with thy tempest and with thy storm, with pestilence, with the plagues. But he did say crafty counsel. That crafty counsel, you see, it's a damn shame. People losing their life. But the only reason Donald Trump don't hate Joe Biden. Donald Trump ain't no sore loser. Donald Trump is setting up the Lord's people to hate him so much that they will fall for anything Joe Biden and Kamala Harris put on their plate. Transgenderism. Everybody thought Bruce Jenner was crazy. Even the Christian church said, huh? What the? Caitlyn Jenner? Not anymore. Not anymore. Don't be surprised when your preachers say they can choose their own gender. If they want to do that, as long as they're not disobeying the 10 Commandments. God loves the heart. God looks at your heart. Don't you believe it? Don't you believe it? Or do you not realize history? What did it say? That thing which has been is that which shall be. There is nothing new under the sun. That which is done is that which shall be done. There's nothing new under the sun. Go look at the fall of Rome. It was at the height of its homosexuality. I think the only reason they wasn't transgenderized and stuff back there in Rome was because they didn't have the technology. Oh, but they was eunuching a nigga down. They would cut your nuts off. What's that? Oh, the Vienna Boys Choir, right? I know growing up, every time we heard that term, I know the old men. I don't know if it's true. Y'all can look it up and y'all let me know. But they say if a fella joined the Vienna Boys Choir, to make sure his voice didn't change too soon, they would castrate him. Well, you know what else they did to him after that? Vienna Boys Choir, Vienna Catholic. Yeah. You know what they did after that. That thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. The Most High has done this before. America, you're stupid. Christian preachers, you stupid. And if you are an Israelite Christian preacher, you are going to be considered the what? The least in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to come back here the least in the kingdom. Why? You know you teaching a lie. You know the Bible itself is true. And you know that what you teach is not in the Bible. You know that what you teach is against the Bible, against the Most High, against the law, statutes, and commandments of Most High, and it is against the people itself. You lie, you cheat, you deceive the people, and you make them deeper prisoners of hell by what you teach them. You make them further captives to our oppressor by what you teach them in Christianity. You set them up to be slaughtered by the Most High by what you teach them in Christianity. And if you think the Most High is not going to get you, you got another thing coming. He ain't through. If we sound angry, it's because we are angry. We angry over the people belonging to the Most High. We are angry over the cause of the Lord. And if our anger and our austerity, right, can't be equated to love, that just means you are a Christian. You a Christian. What father, what person that's in charge and watching out for the children? Don't get angry after he done told the children 4 or 5 times, don't play in the street. And he don't come out there with his belt in his hand, screaming, looking like a madman. And don't let it happen just before or just after one of the children almost get hit by a car. You're going to applaud him. That's what you see in the ISUPK when you see us saying the same thing every place we go. And if we look mad, you damn right we mad. Because you doing this to our brothers. You got our brothers and our sisters tricked. Using Hollywood to make sisters think that they got some authority over men. That they can teach the word of God in the house of God. When the Bible say, I suffer a woman not to teach nor to usurp the authority over men, talking about in the truth. And yet there's women preachers, bishops even, that's leading men straight down the road of hell, turning them straight into sucker-ass slaves for the for the oppressor. They're turning them into cannon fodder for the angels of the Most High. Every brother you sucker to follow you. Every brother you sucker to follow you and support you is subject to the discipline of the Most High. And the Most High don't play. How you know he don't play? Because the law say he don't play. Use the example Jeremiah used from Vegas when Yahweh Shai said before Abraham was, I am. They thought he what? They thought he blasphemed against the Most High, and the penalty to that was stoning. That means stoning to death. They didn't just take a couple of pebbles and throw at you. No, they threw rocks at you until you died. That's what they wanted to do. The penalty for messing over the Lord's people, for leading them down the wrong path on purpose. Because you can't say you didn't know, preacher. You can't say you didn't know, cuz. You can't say you didn't know. Too many of us on this internet talking too much, saying too much, telling too much truth through this ISUPK. For anybody to say they didn't know. For any preacher, for any school-trained preacher, you know, damn it, that if you school-trained preachers got enough of what's that they call that, lobby power, to get the ISUPK by the Southern Poverty Movement to declare us a hate group, that means you studied us and you know what we preaching, what we teaching. You know what we teaching. So you can't stand up and say, I didn't know. You can't say that. You can't say I didn't know. You can't say it. And your head gonna roll, literally, when your Yahweh gets back. And you gonna suffer. You see, you helping it with this pandemic. You haven't caused this pandemic. You are the reason so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are suffering disproportionately. Because you told them it was okay to go see grandma and get some homemade cranberry sauce for the dressing and the sweet potato pie and the turkey and the greens. You say it's okay for them to go through all the celebrations and drinking the eggnog. Now I'm gonna tell you something funny. Eggnog was one of the best tasting things I ever tasted. But because it's associated with this demon-ass holiday called Christmas, this sun worship, anti-Yahweh paganistic holiday, man, I won't touch it. I won't touch it. And you know what's funny? You can't even make an excuse to touch it because they don't sell it no time but this time of year, unless you know somebody. And I know dairies, farms, where they make their stuff right on the farm that will not make eggnog in April. Will not. I'm telling you, come January 5th, if you ain't got it from this farm, you ain't gonna get no eggnog from this dairy. And they big time. You ain't gonna get it. They just won't make it. And I can't be a hypocrite just because I like it and go get it. So, well, oh, it ain't nothing. It don't have nothing to do with the holiday. Nigga, it's the only time they make it is during this holiday. And watch this, that's not the only thing. And even though it's true that it's nothing, what about all my brothers and sisters whose faith is who think this is a holiday drink and that there's some significance to it? I condemn their soul. I condemn their hearts if I do that in front of them. You young officers coming up, man, I can warn you. Be careful about what you do in front of these troopers, these young men, these students, these sisters, these children. Be careful, because you have a whole lot of influence. You have a whole lot of influence. What's been done shall be done. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun, and what you see the Most High doing right now, go back and study it. You tell me if you can't find a parallel to what he did in Egypt. What he did, America is called spiritual Egypt, Babylon. They even put that damn pyramid on their money. They even put that damn pyramid on their money. They know they're Egypt. They know they're Babylon. And since they're so damn arrogant, they should suffer. They should suffer. And if we participate in their sin, we should suffer. We should suffer. If you want to stop suffering, black man, black woman, native woman, so-called Hispanic man, so-called Hispanic woman, if you want to stop suffering, and if you want to see these oppressors get all the suffering come on them, come into the ISUPK. I don't care how famous you are, what you think you know out there. My brothers in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, the sports industry, and whoever else got a platform. I don't care what you think you know and what you think you learn. You don't know nothing. You have no truth in you until you come learn this truth. What? Under Commandant General Yohanan and these priests and prophets of the Most High in the ISUPK. That's my time. I'm Officer Mashah sitting in for that Mighty Man Officer 5000 Shawak. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, in 1969. And we are under Commanding General Yohanan. And since 1969, we've been going through the earth, and we do it down under Commanding General Yohanan. And we teach one truth alone. That truth is that the so-called black man, the so-called Hispanic, the so-called Native American is the lost children of Israel in the Bible, and that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Shalom, Israel.